Hey writers, career coach Lee Jessup here today to talk to you about writing and velocity, right? How quickly should you write your screenplay, your TV pilot? We hear about that all the time, and I get that question often because when people hear about the industry, about working writers, they usually hear that, oh, you got a writing assignment to write a feature in 12 weeks, or you have X amount of weeks in the writer's room to write your episode of television. So taking that into account, how long should it take to write your own original work? What is the time span that you should execute that in? I will tell you that the answer here is a little bit loaded, but the first thing to know is that when you're developing original work, nobody gets a gold star for fast, right? Ultimately, we want you to develop the strongest pilot or feature that you're writing speculatively, as in writing on your own, without that much regard to time, right? Deadlines should serve the writing as opposed to writing serves the deadlines. Trying to accelerate your writing speed is different once you know your process and have done this a few times. When you're just starting out, I usually urge writers not to favor speed over quality, to not try to kind of shortcut the process in order to get to something by a specific date, because the date is going to be meaningful to you, but not to anybody else. If you submit that screenplay or that pilot to a competition and it's not good enough, it's not going to place. If you query a manager with it, if you give it to friends in the industry, if the script is not great, nobody's going to congratulate you on the amount of time that you wrote it in, right? So you have to really get to know your process and get to know where you are as a writer before you start favoring speed and velocity. Now, ultimately, we want to make sure that you are not taking forever to write a thing, right? You want to have some reasonable amount of time in mind. You want to set goals for yourself and milestones to try and hit as you get to know the craft, as you get to know your writing and your voice and what works for you and doesn't work for you in your process. But my advice is always to not favor the velocity of the writing experience unless you absolutely have to, or if that is the exercise, right? Certainly talk to writers who are professional writers who've been working in TV for a while, who come in and say, okay, I want to write a feature script and I want to see if I can do it in 8 to 12 weeks. I think that is a worthy exploration, but you have to really stop and think about what is your process, what does it require, and how do you constantly move that forward? So because I'm deadline driven by nature, I tend to not favor saying, oh, just go and write and let me know when it's done. Kind of hard to coach that way. We do want to set milestones. We do want to challenge ourselves to move material forward and work in a manner that is productive for you. But you also have to remember that you want to not just meet deadlines for meeting deadlines' sake, right? It all has to be in the name of the writing, in the name of moving a project forward. And the last thing that you have to remember as we talk and think about this, it's that when you do a writing assignment on a feature, you will have very specific parameters that you have to meet. There will be very specific boxes to check. Same thing when you're writing an episode for an existing TV show. If you're working in a writer's room, and trust me, then you will have deadlines. But even so, then you are working with a lot of kind of agreed upon standards that are that show, the world, the characters, whatnot. You don't get to come in and rewrite the whole thing. When you are developing original material, you do really have to build everything from the ground up. In terms of how you put it together. What is the design of a particular movie? What is the design of a particular pilot, specifically as it leads into a show? So make sure that you take time to think about it and that the plan that you come up with services the idea that you're trying to build, as opposed to deadlines that will try to get you to writing a script in a particular time span. So keep in mind, like I said earlier, nobody gets a gold star for fast. What we want is great. So make sure to give yourself the time to really think through your development. Use books like the ones recommended in my development resources, Cam Miller's The Hero Succeeds, Michael Tabb's Pre-Writing Your Screenplay, and really be thoughtful about the construction of your original screenplay or pilot, because what we're going to look for is great. Great is what gets you signed. Great is what gets you meeting with executives. Great is what gets you in consideration for open writing assignment for TV writers' rooms. So I hope you found this video helpful and look forward to connecting with you again soon. Bye.